We have a brand new Intercontinental Champion in Bobby Lashley. The Shield has given their farewell address, and it has already been an eventful episode of Monday Night Raw as we await the arrival of the Animal Batista. What's going on out there, world? It's your main man, Tommy, on the spot. Thanks so much for joining us here on Watch Along Wrestling. We will be with you for the remainder of Monday Night Raw. It's been a crazy show already, some good, some bad. We're going to get into it as everything goes through, but here comes Dave Batista looking like a total champ. The live chat is open. You guys are able to join in here if you'd like, and feel free to come in and say hello and let me know your thoughts on the show live as it happens. I'll shout you out on the air, and we'll have a heck of a good time. Still tonight on Raw, we are going to be getting the in-ring return on Raw of Roman Reigns, his first singles match since returning. He'll be taking on Baron Corbin. We will also have the confrontation, which is about to happen right now, between Dave Batista and Triple H. And Kurt Angle is going to be addressing his future coming out here. So here comes Dave Batista, and looks like he's got some security there. Yep, he's got his personal security, just arrived in a limo. So they're going full tilt with this Dave Batista heel turn tonight. And he is going to be the heel going into WrestleMania, which is crazy to think. When you were going in here, you'd have one of the biggest stars in some of the most popular movies out there, Guardians of the Galaxy, the Avengers, and here he is, and they're going to be trying to get Dave Batista over as the biggest heel. Meanwhile, Triple H just recently has been making heel decisions, so he's going to be your full-time babyface, and they're kind of using Ric Flair to go there. Batista in a really neat pair of shades here, got blue frames around the shades, decked out there, I'm sure, with a bunch of NXT talent. Pay attention to the folks that are surrounding Batista here. I'm sure years from now, we'll see these guys up and down the roster in NXT and some of the more developmental territories in WWE. Triple H decked out in his usual street clothes, his leather jacket. Pittsburgh's been hot all night. They've been really kind of waiting for this. I'm surprised this isn't closing the show. I'm guessing Reigns and Corbin will close the show, but it's also possible that Kurt Angle's future will also close the show. Triple H just said, "You got to stand there with your nose ring, like you got to stand there like a nose ring model." Or he said, "It's, you know, are you going to come and dress me like a man, or are you going to stand up there like a nose ring model?" Batista, here he goes.
Security is here because unlike you think, I'm not stupid.
So security is there because unlike you think, I'm not stupid. Triple H suggested the security was there to protect him.
I learned from two of the dirtiest players in the game. I learned from you.
And Batista now saying that he learned from both Ric Flair and from Triple H, two of the dirtiest players in the game. Hunter's got a little gray in his beard tonight. He said the security is indeed there for his protection.
I know it's close by. Your biggest mistake always underestimating me. See,
he said that Triple H's biggest mistake is always underestimating him.
I'm in control here.
Now Batista going out and saying that he's in control here.
You know what it is. Give me what I want.
He's telling Triple H that to give him what he wants. Triple H is looking like he knows what Batista is talking about. Now Triple H saying he doesn't have to do anything. Why should he? So if you guys don't know the backstory here, Batista, before he left WWE back in 2014, had actually said he wanted to program with Triple H at SummerSlam. And the thought was, you know, he was going out to go do Guardians of the Galaxy. He could return as a star of one of the biggest movies of the summer and have a big match with Triple H at SummerSlam. And WWE actually didn't think the Guardians of the Galaxy was going to be that big a deal. I think they even kind of scoffed at it, according to reports from Batista. So that's kind of why Batista's back here. I don't know if he's going to address that, but I guess we'll wait and see.
I'll step out of this ring. I'll walk up that ramp. I will tear my way through the Guardians of the Independent scene or whatever.
Triple H just called the security team the Guardians of the Independent Scene, which is incredible. Batista is not saying we're not going to do this your way.
You know why I quit? Because I wanted to get as far away from you as I could.
Yeah, so Batista saying the reason he quit was to get as far away from Hunter as he possibly could.
Looking down on me, shutting me out. That's all you're doing. That's all you're doing now.
So his backstory here is that he's saying that Triple H always kind of looked down on Dave Batista, always kind of shut him down, shut him out here. So Batista is alluding to something that he wants. Triple H is refusing, saying, I'll give you a beating. That's all you're going to get. I'm not sure what he's alluding to. Makes me think maybe this presumed Batista-Triple H match we've all thought maybe isn't on the cards. Maybe it's something else Batista wants.
I know you want it. It's killing you. Look at you. Get out of this ring. I know you. I see it. It's killing
One of the things that Batista was saying that he was going to continue to hurt people around Triple H until he got what he wanted.
Give me what I want. Give me what I want.
Batista is spitting all over that mic.
Everybody here wants to hear you say it. Give me what I want. You know what I want. You just don't want to give it to me because you're not in control. I'm in control. Hunter, give me what I want. I am going to give you the beating you deserve.
So Triple H is not giving in here, at least not yet. And Batista did say now he does want Triple H at WrestleMania. And now they've got a really great shot of Hunter as he's screaming at Batista with the WrestleMania sign strategically placed behind him, as they do. And there you go. Triple H has said, you're on. Batista, Triple H, WrestleMania, kind of your spectacle-type match. You're apart from the everyday norm of, I guess, storylines. Something special for Mania this year. This is the big attraction, Triple H versus Batista at WrestleMania. And Batista saying that's all he ever wanted, and that's actually true. Batista always said if he ever came back, he said he wanted to end his career on his own terms.
To end your career on my terms.
So now he's saying he's always wanted one last match to end Triple H's career on his terms. And he said, I'll see you at Mania. Now walking out. So Dave Batista versus Triple H. And now let's see.
You'll see me at WrestleMania. But you had better dig down deep inside Hollywood. You had better find
Triple H saying, you better dig down deep.
of the animal, and you better hope there's some. Because when we get to Mania, it might be on your terms, but the match will be on mine.
Oh, here we go. He's saying the match is going to be on his terms.
Bring everything you have. Because there will be no rules.
No rules.
No restrictions to what I do. No law. There will be no holds barred.
No holds barred. So it looks like they're having a bit of a street fight. And it makes sense. Got to have the bells and whistles for these guys. You know, they're both at this point part-timers at best. And for a special attraction match, it makes sense to have a no holds barred match. Batista now taking off his glasses. We'll say for a guy in his 50s, Batista's looking good. Yeah. And Batista now walking away. And it's so it looks like the match is official. Triple H versus Dave Batista at WrestleMania. And it's going to be no holds barred. So you're going to get yourself a nice street fight there at WrestleMania. So the card's starting to take shape here for WrestleMania. We've already got Ronda Rousey versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte. We've got now Triple H versus Batista. We have also, obviously, Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. We have what looks to be AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, though not officially yet. And we also have what looks to be, though not official yet, Shane McMahon versus The Miz. And so the card's taking up shape. Looks like Kurt Angle addressing his future will be next. So it looks like Roman Reigns is going to be closing the show against Baron Corbin. And I will say, if it's anything like last night, it should be a pretty good match. Those guys had a good spotlight in the middle of the ring for a while. And, you know, I thought looked pretty good. So let's reset here a bit. You guys are just tuning in here. You guys are watching Watch Along Wrestling. Thanks so much for checking us out here. I am Tommy on the spot. We'll be with you for the remainder of the night. They're doing a little video package here chronicling the Shane McMahon Undertaker match from WrestleMania 32. And I will say, you know, while that match is something that, you know, is really remembered really for one crazy bump off the top of the cell, which they're showing right now, which Shane McMahon's a maniac for doing that. It is something where that match and Shane McMahon's return is the reason I ended up going to that WrestleMania. It was probably the thing that got me most interested in going. I was on the fence about WrestleMania 32, making the trip down to Dallas, but once Shane came back during that Vince McMahon Senior Award ceremony that Vince Jr. Threatened to give the award to Stephanie McMahon, Shane came back. That's what got me to go and make the trip down to WrestleMania 32. And while it's not one of the best WrestleManias, it's a trip I'll always remember. So cool to kind of see a little bit of a package on Shane and The Undertaker. All right, so let's reset. If you guys are joining us, let me give you guys the 411 on what's happened on Raw so far. Number one, probably the biggest news of the night thus far, starting things out, is that Bobby Lashley, yes, my man Bobby, is the Intercontinental Champion of the world, defeating Finn Balor. They had a rematch tonight for the Intercontinental title, and Bobby Lashley won the Intercontinental Championship. Folks on Twitter don't seem the happiest about it. Can't say I blame them. You know, it feels like the upward mobility of Balor as the Intercontinental Champion would be a little higher than Bobby Lashley right now. On top of that, Leo Rush showed up and helped Bobby Lashley win, so they continue to, you know, tease whether these guys are going to be together or separate. But, you know, for now they're together, and Bobby Lashley is your Intercontinental Champion once again. And, you know, it's a little bit of a shame because I do think Finn Balor had a little more to offer as your IC champ than Lashley. I personally wonder now what happens with the Intercontinental title, if that's even a part of WrestleMania. As I was going through some things earlier, I was thinking there's not much here for these guys on WrestleMania. There's just so many different matches. We don't know what Kurt Angle's about to say, but he's in Pittsburgh, his hometown. If he retires or if there's a match set up with him, you know, there's only so many spots on the show. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where they go. The other big news of the show thus far, Alexa Bliss is the host of WrestleMania 35. It was announced tonight on a moment of Bliss that Alexa Bliss will be the host for WrestleMania 35. She had teased being host the likes of some of the more popular hosts in WWE WrestleMania history, the likes of The Rock, Hulk Hogan, and Kim Kardashian, which got a big boo. Then she went to tease who this person was who was being introduced as the host of WrestleMania, and it was her. So that was kind of the deal with that. The Shield did give their farewell address, and it almost felt like they all decided, hey, let's just amicably split. Let's go our own separate ways. Roman Reigns had said he had his business to take care of with Baron Corbin tonight. They had teased that Dean Ambrose had business to take care of, though they didn't specify what that was. Said Dean probably didn't know what that was either. And they said that Seth Rollins can now turn his attention to slaying the Beast. And at that moment, Paul Heyman came out, and he and Seth actually had a pretty good exchange where Seth Rollins was calling into question, you know, he originally said, hey, is this the Brock Lesnar who's dominated guys like Braun Strowman, The Undertaker, and John Cena, or is this the Brock Lesnar who narrowly escaped matches with Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, and Finn Balor? Calling into question that when Brock Lesnar is put into matches with guys that are similar to Seth Rollins' size and stature and skill set, he struggles a little bit. And I will let you guys know. And Paul Heyman basically called into question that, you know, the reason why is the crowd proudly chants "you suck," and Kurt Angle's got a big smile on his face as he is coming out here in his hometown of Pittsburgh. This feels like this is going to be some sort of angle to set something up. I'm assuming he's going to announce a retirement, and then someone's going to come out here and answer this challenge. So if you guys are in the chat, let me know who you think is going to answer the challenge. It would be really fun to see John Cena come out and challenge Kurt Angle here at WrestleMania. Little harkening back to the fact that Cena's first match in WWE was with Kurt Angle, so it'd be interesting to see if Kurt's last match can be with John Cena. But Kurt Angle's got the mic in his hometown in the middle of the ring on Monday Night Raw.
23 years ago, I left Pittsburgh to compete in the Olympic Games.
talking about how 23 years ago he left Pittsburgh to compete in the Olympic Games. And now the crowd is screaming along with Angle as he's talking about doing it with a broken freaking neck. And he's talking about how he's basically now gone through everybody. And we'll try to give you guys at least a little audio here of Kurt in the background here. All right. So here you guys, I'll bow out a little bit and we'll watch Kurt Angle together. I'll let you guys listen to him, and then we'll hear what his big announcement is.
At WrestleMania, I will compete in my farewell match.
Farewell match at WrestleMania.
I'd like to thank the WWE. I'd like to thank every superstar I share the locker room with, but most importantly, I want to thank each and every one of you.
Seems like he's getting a little choked up here. Now there.
So much fun for me. I literally had the time of my life.
Hey, what's going on out there, Foul Original? How's it going out there, bud? Check out Foul Original over on Twitter at Foul Original. Also follow him over on his own YouTube channel. He's got some good stuff over there as well.
One last match right here in my hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
All right, so Kurt Angle's announced his farewell match will be at WrestleMania. He's looking for a match in his hometown of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And Apollo Crews is coming out to accept that challenge. Man, nothing screams. Nothing screams deflating like Apollo Crews. I'm sorry. I know a lot of folks like Apollo. I was a fan of Uhaa Nation. It is not translated well here on it is basically not translated well, for me at least, pretty much ever since he came up in NXT. And I was there live for his his debut in NXT. But at the end of the day, it was one of these deals where they basically, he came out and right away, I mean, he had a couple of good moves set, but he just hasn't clicked. He's missed a little of charisma here in WWE, at least in my opinion. And we're going to commercial break again, which is really frustrating about Raw. But it's going to be Kurt Angle one-on-one with Apollo Crews right after the commercial break. And so Kurt Angle now, he's going to have his farewell match at WrestleMania, something else to look forward to. For me, if they're going to do a match with Kurt Angle, I think you go one of a couple different ways. They can go with John Cena, as I said. I think Cena would be a great story there, kind of coming full circle. Again, his first match, the big ruthless aggression where Cena slaps the taste out of Kurt Angle's mouth, and he, steps up to the plate and damn near beats Kurt Angle in his debut match after he was the prototype down in OVW and, took off to the stratosphere, and now to come all the way full circle and have Kurt Angle's farewell match. That would make a little bit of sense, and you could build that up as something, especially because Cena is not I don't think he's advertised for anything coming up forward on the on any shows, Raw or SmackDown. No doubt, buddy. Sounds good. Yeah, Foul Original is building up a live streamer roundtable coming soon. Yeah, would love to hear more information about that. That sounds great. So I think that would be something to take a look at and to, John Cena is somebody. If you're going to go with somebody on the roster to go against Angle, there is always Drew McIntyre, who I think needs a big WrestleMania match. I'd love to see that. That being said, McIntyre beat Kurt Angle clean, middle of the ring on Raw, so it's like, they've had Angle losing right and left, so I don't know if it feels like a big attraction match like against Cena would make a little more sense than kind of passing the buck to somebody because he's lost right and left. So, at this point, have they done too much damage to Angle to see whether that would be something that, would be almost too much, I feel like. And then, there's a couple different ways they could also go with it, but I have a feeling that those are the different ways. Of course, Cena, too, has been rumored to be going against Samoa Joe. I think that Joe is somebody that fans would really love to see Cena go against, or even a new guy. I mean, there was rumored originally there's going to be Lars Sullivan. Obviously, he had his issues. He's not going to be going against John Cena. Thanks a lot, buddy. Appreciate it. Thanks for checking in there, Foul Original. So, yeah, I mean, let me know again who you think would be somebody to kind of check out there for Kurt Angle in his farewell match that has been announced for WrestleMania. going back to some of the other things that happened earlier in the show, Ronda Rousey came out. She's continuing to do this where she's cussing and she's all in a really bad mood. Dana Brooke came out to go after her, saying, hey, at this point she has nothing to lose. She may as well go after Ronda Rousey, step up to it. She kind of came to the defense of the wrestling, the wrestling public and for what wrestling stands for against Ronda. That being said, it was one of these deals where Ronda just destroyed her. That was the end of Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke is someone that, it seemed like they were kind of going somewhere with her with the Titus Worldwide deal, and that kind of didn't really work out. So, who knows where we'll go from there. We're back here live on Raw as Apollo Crews and Kurt Angle are locking up. This feels like the reason they're doing this match is to give Kurt a big win here. But Apollo takes Angle down, runs over Kurt Angle here. Angle with a big hip toss. And now Angle has Apollo's arm locked, and he's working over that arm into a submission. You got to give Kurt credit here. Kurt, returned to WWE a couple years ago, going into the WWE Hall of Fame, and has really ended up having a couple other matches here on the main roster, which I don't think even he thought was necessarily going to happen. But he was a major point, if not the biggest match last year's WrestleMania, was Kurt and Ronda Rousey against Triple H and Stephanie, which ironically enough, big belly-to-belly throw by Kurt Angle as Angle runs into the corner, big drop kick from Apollo Crews. I will say, not taking nothing away from the athleticism of Crews. He's got some, definitely has some good moves there, and if he can get something there with the personality, I think he could get beyond to something, but I don't know. So Apollo Crews, big vertical suplex there to Angle, takes him down, goes for a cover for a 2 count. And so, so Kurt, it was actually supposed to be Ronda Rousey and Batista against Triple H and Stephanie last year's WrestleMania. And then when I guess some other plan for Kurt kind of fell through, they moved Kurt into there. And that's a lot of where the frustration, kind of in real life with Batista has kind of come through. And it's a situation where they, it just really, it ended up really being the top match in a way on last year's WrestleMania, probably more so. I'd say more so even than Roman and Brock. I think the match people were most excited was Ronda's first match, and I think being in there with a couple of pros like Stephanie, Triple H, and Kurt Angle really helped Ronda. German suplex there from Kurt Angle, and he carries it over into another German suplex. Carries now for a third. Vintage Angle here. Another thought for Angle's farewell match could be The Undertaker. There's been rumors recently that Undertaker is planning on being at WrestleMania. I know there was some folks who thought he wasn't going to be a part of it because he had signed up for StarCast and he was going to be a part of StarCast and everything to that extent. So that is something to kind of keep an eye on there, of maybe that being that big attraction match. But who knows? I think we could also find out here at the end of the show, at the end of this match, who that guy is going to be for Kurt's farewell match. I wouldn't be stuck. When Angle was out there, I would love to see him get 15, 20 minutes to show, turn back the clock for one night only. Kind of like, when Ric Flair was going down his match with Shawn Michaels, big frog splash from Apollo Crews misses, Angle up, Angle slam. That should be all she wrote. Kind of just a squash match. Give Kurt a big win in his hometown. Why not? Angle over Apollo Crews. But yeah, when Ric Flair was getting ready for his WrestleMania 24 match with Shawn Michaels, he had a couple of matches leading up to where he had kind of not had the greatest of performances going up to that match. And it turned out his match at WrestleMania, it was like he knew that was it, quote unquote. I know he had a couple more years of being out there, where basically he, Kurt here is helping up Apollo Crews, giving him a big hug, and getting a big standing ovation from the Pittsburgh crowd. Got to be a cool moment there for them. Kurt and, at least able to do that. Not a bad deal there. I don't anticipate that we're getting an Apollo heel turn, though. It would make sense for him not to be so gracious, but Apollo's already getting out of the ring, giving Kurt the ring. Kurt saying thank you to everybody and kind of bowing out. So it's something to consider and something to look at. Really getting quite an ovation from the folks, though, in Pittsburgh. I always feel like Pittsburgh is a super underrated wrestling town. I'll never forget, and as I mentioned this here, thank you so much there to my main man, Renee. Thanks for checking us out here. And appreciate the compliment. So Kurt Angle looks definitely emotional as they're now going to the back here, checking out Roman Reigns. It'll be interesting to see where they go with Roman Reigns for WrestleMania now. Now that it does not appear that they're going to be doing the deal with Ambrose going heel, which a lot of people thought was going to happen last night. I guess it could still happen here. But Roman does have a nice shiner from the match last night. And now they're kind of showing the preview package for Lesnar and for Seth Rollins. So I was talking earlier about what happened with the Rollins promo with Rollins going out there, going for some work against, kind of going at it with Paul Heyman. Rollins had basically said that Lesnar had been struggling with guys that were more his size, like Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, and Finn Balor. Paul Heyman, and one of the things I love about Paul Heyman is even though he's a heel, he does a really great job, in my opinion, of really coming through and really saying things that are truthful and that make sense. And so you hate the guy, but you can't help but give him his just desserts because he's out there and he's making, he's doing it right and he's out there saying what's on his mind. And I think that that's, one great thing about Heyman. And he basically said, yes, hey, Lesnar may have struggled with Balor. Lesnar may have struggled with Daniel Bryan, may have struggled with AJ Styles. But in all of those matches, originally before AJ, it was supposed to be Jinder Mahal, and then Mahal got hurt. When it was Daniel Bryan, it was supposed to be AJ, and then Mahal didn't get hurt. He lost the belt to AJ. Then a year later, it was supposed to be AJ Styles, and it ended up being Daniel Bryan because Daniel Bryan won the title right before Survivor Series. And at Royal Rumble, it was supposed to be Braun Strowman, and it ended up being Finn Balor. So it kind of made you go, oh, shit, he makes a point. Like, Brock didn't have that chance to prepare like he now has for Rollins. So I thought that was really good stuff. I think that this is the first time I felt like Rollins and Lesnar are guys that are going to have a really, they'll have a good match at WrestleMania. They'll have a WrestleMania quality main event. And it felt like this was the first time they were putting a little something towards it. And they did confirm that Brock Lesnar will finally be making his return to Monday Night Raw next Monday, March 18th. We'll be back for the Hour 3 live stream, which is something we've been doing here on Watch Along Wrestling. So make sure you do subscribe here and turn on that bell so you know whenever we're on the air. And we will actually, next time we'll be back on the air for a live stream of sorts. It's actually going to be this Wednesday afternoon. We're kicking off our WrestleMania series, going back and rewatching at least parts of the 4 WrestleManias that have been taking place here in New York. So you're going to get WrestleMania 1, you're going to get WrestleMania 10, WrestleMania 20, and WrestleMania 29. And you can actually send me your thoughts and memories of these shows. You could hit me up on Twitter at WatchWrestlePod or shoot an email to me, watchalongwrestling@gmail.com. I'll read your thoughts about WrestleMania 1, about WrestleMania 10, 20, or 29 on the air as I rewatch those shows, and may have some guests and company for those shows, so that's something to definitely keep an eye on. Kind of going through here while we're still on a commercial break, I'll break down a little more of what happened on Raw so far tonight. After Rollins had and Paul Heyman kind of went back and forth, Rollins was attacked by Shelton Benjamin, who they even announced was SmackDown Live Shelton Benjamin. And, Benjamin hasn't done much. Thanks. Renee, you are the man, buddy. Thanks so much for doing that. I appreciate it. Renee, turning on that bell to make sure that he can be there for all of the alerts and notifications, and definitely appreciate that. So one of the things to really kind of look at and think about during Shelton Benjamin. Benjamin has that tie to Brock Lesnar. They were teammates in college, University of Minnesota. And I just thought, they haven't done anything with Benjamin in quite some time. It'd have been really cool if they had planned this out a little better and had Benjamin return tonight. It could have meant something to have Shelton Benjamin come out tonight and face Rollins. It could have meant a lot more than to have it be like a random guy showing up and attacking Rollins, a guy who has like no business doing that. So it kind of fell flat because they haven't done anything with Benjamin. But the guys did have a good match, and Rollins obviously got a big win over Benjamin. Back here from Pittsburgh, they're showing everything. They're showing PNC Bank Field, home of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we're now getting set for the match here. And this might very well be the main event. What time is it now? 10:32. Wouldn't shock me at all if we get a nice long match here between Roman Reigns and And Baron Corbin, my wife just said, with a ton of commercials, I'm sure she's right. I'm sure it's going to be 2 commercial breaks. This match here was rumored for WrestleMania, at least at some point. Corbin and Reigns. I don't think that if we're going to get it tonight on an episode of Raw, a main event, that they're going to hold it off and give it to us again in a little under 4 weeks at WrestleMania. So I think we're going to get something more with Roman. And who knows, maybe by the end of this night, we'll know who his WrestleMania opponent is going to be. Roman slapping hands with fans. A lot of folks on Twitter, I mentioned this earlier, a lot of folks on Twitter were saying that they thought maybe Roman was going to turn heel on the Shield and go ahead and have a big heel run. WWE has been trying to get Roman Reigns over as the top babyface since WrestleMania 31. Screw that. Since before that. Since 2014 when he was the sole survivor. 2013 when he was the sole survivor at Survivor Series. They've been trying to get Roman over as the top babyface for some time. And ever since he split from the Shield, the fans have not bought into it. They haven't really got behind Roman Reigns as the top babyface, at least on a macro level. Now the fans are. And it doesn't matter the circumstances of how we got there. Fans like Roman Reigns now. So I would be utterly stunned if WWE, after all this, turned Roman Reigns heel. Oh, wait. Roman Reigns just got laid out here by Drew McIntyre. Could have ourselves our WrestleMania match, I guess. So ambushed here by Drew McIntyre. McIntyre laying out Reigns. Now playing to the crowd. Hey, I can get into Roman Reigns against Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania. That's a big match for McIntyre. I think a lot of people have been waiting for that match, and that could really be something to kind of check out there. And Drew McIntyre throwing Roman Reigns shoulder first into the turnbuckle post and kind of stalking over him now as Reigns is writhing in pain on the outside of the ring. So unless this is just building it. So I think this could go one of 2 ways. One, this could go with Drew McIntyre and Roman. Or what this could end up with is another 6-man for WrestleMania. If Roman can't do a full singles match at this point, which I'm not sure of. I mean, he certainly looked great last night. I have no reason to believe. Roman now fighting back with McIntyre on the outside. Claymore kick, though, from McIntyre. Stiff as can be. McIntyre lays out Roman Reigns. And Roman laid out there on the ground as they question that he took a sick bump onto the floor there. Now, showing another replay here as Roman is being stalked by Drew McIntyre on the arena floor. Good stuff from McIntyre here. Really good, intense stuff. McIntyre now waiting for Roman to get up, down to one knee, and basically begging him to get up so he can hit him with another Claymore kick. Telling him to get up. Calling for him to get up. And it looks like this could very well be our what... Another Claymore to Roman, and Roman goes head first into the post outside. Roman is out as Drew McIntyre pulls his hair back, screaming in his face. And Roman does have, as I said earlier, a shiner from, looks like from last night. Might have get caught with something. You can tell he's got a black eye under his right eye. And now the trainers are out checking on Roman Reigns. Roman's trying to fight them off. And now it looks like, I don't know who that trainer is. What happened to Doc Amon? No idea who that guy is. He's out there checking on Roman Reigns and trying to beg with Roman to kind of stave off there and to relax. And Roman is having none of it. Put his hand on his head, and he's looking like pretty beat up here as the referees are trying to beg off Drew McIntyre to kind of let him be. And good stuff. So I'm wondering now if Roman's going to power through this and still have his match with Corbin, or if maybe this match is off. I don't think. Is anything else? If you're in the live stream in the chat, let me know. Is anything else even announced for Raw for the end of the show here? Because I thought this would be our main event, especially after Angle came out and after Triple H and Batista came out. Now Rollins is coming down here. Check on Roman. Trying to see if Roman's okay. McIntyre seems to be nowhere to be found now. Man, if you were watching the last hour of Raw hoping for a lot of in-ring action, you're probably sadly mistaken and a little disappointed, as I think we've had a solid 3 minutes of in-ring action throughout this entire final hour. Now Roman is not in any mood. Seth asking him if he's okay. Roman saying he's fine, and we'll see if we'll get our Roman Reigns Baron Corbin match. Now Roman saying that's it. He has a little bit of a headache, and he's trying to go to the back here. Rollins is over there helping Roman to the back. So there you go. Roman is being helped to the back by Rollins, and it seems like this match is off. Now, we'll say, one of the things about WrestleMania season is a lot of times there isn't very much in-ring action because you're just setting up all the matches. You'd hate for someone to get hurt so close to WrestleMania. So it almost makes sense to have them kind of do something here where a lot of this isn't too much in-ring action. Even throughout the night on as I think back to the matches, I know that Nia Jax had a one-on-one match with Natty. They kind of reintroduced Beth Phoenix over there. Nia and Tamina left. Beth Phoenix and Natty Lang went to the back and then were attacked by the Boston Hug Connection. This was right before we went on the air. So at the end of the second hour. And so it looks like they're continuing to build that tag team there. Kind of that triple threat tag team deal. And who knows? Now, I think, again, when you think about the matches for WrestleMania for the tag titles, women's tag belts, I'm thinking the way they're going to go with this is they're going to have the women's tag titles on the line in the Women's Battle Royal. If you think about how many matches there are, we already went through the matches earlier. Now there's going to be a Kurt Angle farewell. Looks like we're getting Drew and Roman at WrestleMania now, at least from what we just saw. Even off the top of my head, I could probably give you another 4 or 5 matches that they're probably going to have to figure out a spot for. So to have four matches there, have this women's tag title match, and then the Women's Battle Royal, wouldn't make much sense. They could easily just kind of bring them all together. You could bring in some names from the past. You could bring in some guys from NXT. Certainly Io Shirai and Kairi Sane would be fun to kind of check out. Have them a part of things. I actually love it if Bayley and Sasha, since they've been down in NXT as well, defending those titles against the Sky Pirates at NXT TakeOver. And you could do a deal where Bayley and Sasha are now on NXT TakeOver and on WrestleMania. So I think that could be a lot of fun. So it's definitely something to think about. Aleister Black and Ricochet, those guys are in the Dusty Invitational Tournament right now. If they end up going on to win the tournament, they'll be on NXT TakeOver. And they had another match tonight where they defeated Chad Gable and Bobby Roode pretty decisively. So they're currently being built up as the top contenders on Raw. So could be a situation where they end up on both NXT TakeOver and on WrestleMania. And this happens sometimes. I remember they did this back in 2015 when they really kind of started the whole women's revolution, when they brought up Charlotte and Sasha and Becky. And they ended up where a lot of those, and KO was also on SummerSlam 2015. But those guys were also all still a part of the NXT tapings or the NXT TakeOver show from Brooklyn the night before. So they could certainly do that and certainly have representation from NXT on WrestleMania as well as NXT TakeOver. So it'll be interesting to see kind of where they go. It's also interesting to see what they're going to be doing with Raw here over the next 20 minutes. I don't know if we're still getting the Roman Reigns Baron Corbin match. I'm not sure if we're getting what we're going to have. We'll be with you throughout the night. Let me know your thoughts of Raw thus far. You can also follow me over on Twitter at WatchWrestlePod. Have a great time chatting with you guys on Twitter. And it's crazy to me that we are just under 4 weeks away from WrestleMania 35 from MetLife Stadium. Spoke with someone earlier today who was saying that tickets are tough to come by, having a lot of difficulty getting secondhand tickets over on StubHub. The tickets are through the roof, and on, eBay and wherever else you'd get third-party sites. So that is a tough ticket to come by. And I will say WrestleMania coming to New York is always like the absolute toughest. For whatever reason, it's just a stiff, super tough ticket to get. So, if you don't have your tickets, I do hope that they release some tickets as the show goes. My advice would be, keep going on and keep, refreshing the page. Try to get in there and see on Ticketmaster if they release tickets, because they very well might as they put up the set design. So tomorrow night on Raw, on SmackDown Live, they're building that it's going to be Vince McMahon out there to address Kofi Kingston. A lot of craziness last night with Kofi at Fastlane. Also, Shane McMahon is going to address his actions after turning on The Miz in front of his father last night. Now the Shield's in the back, helping Roman back out there. Dean is not in Dean is not in a good mood, and it looks very funny here in his cut-off Hounds of Justice shirt. Seth and Dean both now helping Roman to the back. Dean and Seth pleading with Roman to go to the trainer and get it checked out. Dean not looking very happy as he now turns, and now Seth goes with Roman to get it checked out in the trainer, and now Dean Ambrose goes and is interrupted by Triple H. And Dean Ambrose saying he wants to fight Drew McIntyre tonight. Right now. I guess right now. We don't have much time, so. All right, so Dean Ambrose is asking Triple H for a match with Drew. So it's going to be Drew McIntyre versus Dean Ambrose now. Falls count anywhere, street fight. Of course, Triple H, who's now the biggest babyface we're supposed to get behind for WrestleMania, I guess, tells Dean Ambrose he's on and to go for it. And here we go. So the match with Roman and Baron Corbin seems off. And instead here, for the final 15 minutes of the show, we're going to get Drew McIntyre versus Dean Ambrose. This feels a little thrown together. I'm not sure what they're doing. I think that, they could have done this attack and then done the match and then had, the big confrontation between Batista and Triple H be the last thing on the show. I think that was the big drawing point of the show, other than the Shield farewell, which opened the show. So you could have had that. Not having that, close the show now, and now having this random mishmash. I mean, I get it. You wanted to kind of set up McIntyre and Reigns. I'm sure they'll have a great match at WrestleMania. But that being said, now we're in a situation where randomly it's going to be McIntyre against Ambrose here in the main event of Raw. So we'll see. And there's a little shot of Renee, Corey Graves, and Michael Cole. And Ambrose coming out. Old school Ambrose music. And Ambrose looks very, very, very unhappy as he's storming to the ring. And looks like we're getting another commercial break, as we do on Monday Night Raw. Actually, no, but it does not look like that now. Chicago next Monday. That'll be great. They're getting all the big cities in here. I think we got Chicago next week. I think we then have we just had Philly, I think, a week ago. Oh, Ambrose, McIntyre now talking to Dean. McIntyre coming out saying, "Are you going to take this beating like a man? Or are you going to squeal like your pathetic brother Roman?" And here comes McIntyre, and they're getting at it. Ambrose and McIntyre beating the crap out of one another on the stage. McIntyre going for a suplex, but Ambrose reverses, suplexes Drew McIntyre back on the stage. And now McIntyre running down off the stage. Ambrose with a axe handle off the stage. They're out on the arena floor and fighting into the WWE Universe. Did I really just say fighting into the WWE Universe instead of fighting into the fans? I think I did, which is silly. McIntyre now teasing that he's going to throw Ambrose over that barricade and into the crowd. Now they're fighting into the crowd. This is the second night they've done this. This is very, reminiscent of the hardcore matches they used to do back in the Attitude Era, where they'd always wrestle everywhere. You'd go through the crowd, you'd go into the concession stands, you'd go out into the street, you'd go into the lake, wherever. And they've had a little bit of this now 2 nights in a row, and it's been a nice change of pace. When this is done periodically, this feels different. It feels like it's something cool. And I've been a fan of it. Couple chops here from Dean to Drew McIntyre, as McIntyre now up into the stands. They're really going up into the fans there. Another right hand by Ambrose. And now McIntyre going at Ambrose. They're really getting backed by some of those skybox seats there in the crowd. I've been disappointed with the crowds recently. No one trying to get themselves over at all. Maybe I've been impressed, I guess more so than disappointed. Taking McIntyre, slamming the head of Dean Ambrose down onto the railing there. Crazy stuff. And now going up to the top. Headbutt from Drew McIntyre to Dean Ambrose. Now McIntyre picking up Ambrose, throwing him into the back area underneath where the press boxes are in the arena here in Pittsburgh. And there is a lady trying to film them on her phone. No doubt on that young lady's Insta story right now is a very close-up view of McIntyre and Ambrose as McIntyre is threatening to throw Ambrose off of the press box and into the stands where the fans are. So Ambrose in back to – is Ambrose – yeah, Ambrose is biting his finger to try to get himself to try. I thought he was eating something that a fan gave him, but no. Now Ambrose off that desk area, hits McIntyre with an elbow drop, and a popcorn bucket goes flying. Now he takes a garbage can to McIntyre's face. And help us, Lord, we are on another and the final, hopefully, commercial break here on Monday Night Raw. We only got 10 minutes left of the show, so I'm hoping that's the final there. Commercial break. Always a tough part of watching Raw Live, though, are these commercial breaks. It's something that I've thoroughly enjoyed doing with all of you guys. These live streams were a lot of fun, and I enjoyed chatting with you guys during the show. But boy, watching Raw Live, it can be tough, man. I mean, you cannot get invested into a match because the second you get invested into a match, it transforms into a commercial for Hogsmeade. And while I love Harry Potter World in Universal Studios, I don't need to see it in the middle of my wrestling match. So, yeah, crazy. And now we're on another commercial break. It's tough. At least when you do, watching Raw on delay through DVR, you can zip through all the commercial breaks and really the first half of all the matches because all the matches immediately go to a commercial break. So you know that you're not going to get a finish until the match, with each one of the starts of the matches here. So we shall see, but I feel like it's been a newsworthy Raw. I'm not sure it's been a good Raw. I'll be honest with you guys. I think there was a lot of hopes after last night's Fastlane. Seems like there was a mixed bag reaction to Fastlane. I had very low expectations for Fastlane. I went in thinking that the show was going to be pretty predictable, and it lived up to my expectations in terms of the results. I think if you listen to my official prediction show for Fastlane, it was indeed something in a situation where it was. Everybody was kind of, I think we were on the money with all of our predictions. It wasn't something that was really that tough to call. But I think a lot of the matches really delivered. I certainly loved the six-man with the Shield. I thought that the Fatal 4-Way that was added there with Joe and with Ray and Andrade and R-Truth, that was really good. The Triple Threat Tag match with Aleister Black and Ricochet going against Gable and Rude, going against the Revival was great. There was some really, really good stuff there, and I enjoyed the storyline development, at least, with the Usos against Shane and The Miz. Wasn't really big on the women's matches yesterday. I thought Boston Hug against Nia Jax and Tamina was okay, but the rest of the matches, Asuka and Mandy didn't do much for me, and, the bait and switch there with the Charlotte-Becky not really giving us much of a match really made no sense to me. Because if the McMahons were so hell-bent on keeping keeping Becky out of that match, why would they have allowed Ronda to just go in and stomp on Becky and then immediately go into, just be like, oh, it's cool. Becky's in. Cool. DQ. No big deal. Why wouldn't they come out and say that's BS and restart the match? And the storyline, it just didn't make any sense. I don't think you needed to do it. I think you could have given, Becky a match against anyone else and just given her a decisive win to get in there. And I just... looking back, hated the way that Becky was totally cool. Hey, I'm in the main event. Cool. Don't care how I got there. It's cool by me as long as I'm in. Thought that was really kind of lame and didn't really fit into her badass character that she's been portraying over this last couple of months here since she's become the man. Stone Cold Steve Austin, who she's always going to draw comparisons to because she's been arrested, because she's caused a lot of chaos, would have never been cool of doing things the easy way. He always wanted to do things the hard way. They're back here on Raw now. They are still in the crowd. Ambrose is on the railing. So they've been battling up by the press box this entire time for like 3-4 minutes, which, you know, is a cool visual for us at home because we're able to see this. But I'm sure live, oh no, they're showing that they actually battled back into the concession stand during the commercial break. They're showing a little table randomly set up with a bunch of popcorn and nachos, and Ambrose throwing McIntyre over that, flipping all of the popcorn everywhere and the nachos everywhere. McIntyre taking a minute to take a chomp out of some of the popcorn. Now they go over to the WWE merch stand, which looks very much like it was set up moments ago. And McIntyre threw Ambrose through the merch stand, knocking all the merch down. That'll probably be coming to a play set near a Mattel figures pack soon enough. Now they're back onto the arena floor. Ambrose climbing up to the barricade and dropping it, going for an axe handle, but he's caught by McIntyre. Belly to back suplex onto the floor, and Ambrose is in a lot of pain. If this ends up where they do a deal here where McIntyre gets a decisive, clean victory over Dean Ambrose, which I think they're going to if McIntyre is the way they're going for Roman Reigns, they probably should, as McIntyre picks up a big set of steel steps and clobbers Dean right in the head, taking him down, throwing the steps down with authority, and going for a cover on the outside as false count anywhere, but it's only a 2 count. Ambrose kicks out. This leads me to believe Ambrose is just going to get buried, and maybe he really isn't resigning. I think a lot of people have assumed this Dean Ambrose is not resigning as a work. I don't know that he necessarily is resigning. Maybe he is going to go elsewhere, and if he is, maybe he's not even a part of WrestleMania. You know, if he loses here to McIntyre clean, which I think he's going to, you know, it makes me think maybe there isn't any plan for Dean at WrestleMania. Could be wrong. Maybe they're swerving me, and I've been swerved before, so who knows. Another cover here from McIntyre on the outside. Kick out at 2 from Ambrose. And now McIntyre going and picking up Ambrose, going for a vertical suplex, delayed by Drew McIntyre to Dean Ambrose, going for another cover for another 2 count as Ambrose is able to kick out. We have some friends down there at Raw. Hope they enjoyed themselves. This has been an okay Raw. It's just not too much, especially as you're getting closer to Mania. Kind of want all systems go. Now they're back in the crowd, and there's my man back there with the beer, Santa Jr. He's getting in on the camera there. That's what I like to see. Someone who's not only this, he looks like he's FaceTiming with someone. He's got a beer in his hand, and he's acting like he is thrilled to be a part of Monday Night Raw. If they go to another commercial break, guys. No, they're not. Okay. All right. There's some random people sitting on some, looks like some office chairs that are randomly there as Ambrose goes, and he's pummeling Drew McIntyre with rights and lefts to on top of his back and on his side there. And now Dean getting up. Now Dean looks like he's going over somewhere, clearing over maybe some of that production area there where they run a lot of the television studio stuff right there at ringside. Now McIntyre picking up a big chair shot to the back of Ambrose from McIntyre as McIntyre now walks around the outside of the arena, picks up Ambrose, drops him chest first onto the barricade in the back of the arena there. They're on the outside. And yeah, they're right now that they're mentioning that the barricade that he was dropped on is actually the ice where the hockey players play, where you go to, you know, where you'd have like a penalty or something to that extent. The penalty box is that area where they're battling on right now. It's kind of give you guys a little bit of a visual. And now McIntyre Dean over by the, and now Ambrose has McIntyre on like a bit of a rolling box as he's taking this box and running down the outdoor area, throws it into another box as McIntyre falls off the box and onto the arena floor. And Ambrose now stalking out McIntyre, waiting for him to get up. Elbow drop to Dean Ambrose. And McIntyre kicks out with authority. There's a couple kids trying to chant, "This is awesome." Unfortunately, it's just them. But they're trying. You got to give them credit. Now McIntyre smashing the head of Ambrose onto that rolling box that was just used on him. Oh, and now trying to hit roll another one of these boxes into Ambrose, but Ambrose leaps over the box and takes McIntyre head first into the rolling box. And now they're up by the Raw announce table as Renee and Michael Cole scurry away. Ambrose goes for a small package. What? On the Raw stage. Very bizarre. As a stomp there from McIntyre. My thought here of how this will end. McIntyre gets the win. He's still pummeling Dean. Roman comes out. Superman punch. And the Shield stands tall to end the show one more time. Let's see if I'm correct on that. And McIntyre walking over to the Raw table as now all three of the announcers have gotten out of the way. Getting rid of those iPods that are set up so nicely over there. And instead, back suplex there. Ambrose dropping McIntyre onto the table. Very rare they go over, at least take the fight to there. I mean, this has been a fun brawl. The crowd does seem pretty wiped. That's a shame because they were really into it toward the beginning of the show. And now Ambrose calling for the crowd to get into it as they start to. They're on the Raw announce table. Low blow from McIntyre to Ambrose as now both men crumble on top of the Raw announce table way out the stands. And now McIntyre took a pen to the eye of Ambrose, and Renee Young is looking pretty unhappy about this. I mean, you got to give her credit because, you know, we all know. And now McIntyre with Ambrose up. Lawn dart throw into the WrestleMania sign, the one that's by the entrance. He didn't lawn dart throw him into the stands where the big WrestleMania sign is hanging, but pretty crazy stuff. Right into the LED boards over there that have the WrestleMania sign up there. McIntyre now has him up again, shoulder. And again, lawn darting Ambrose into that LED boards cover, but Ambrose kicks out at two as the LED boards do start to flicker. This isn't exactly Shane McMahon, Kurt Angle, King of the Ring 2001, but it's not bad for what it is. Ambrose going for another right hand to Drew McIntyre. And now it looks like McIntyre taking a head and arm into where it looks like they have a railing of sorts that are kind of, I don't even know where they're at now. Now McIntyre stalking Ambrose. Claymore kick! While Ambrose was in the railing, Ambrose tumbles down the stairs, still in the railing. McIntyre goes for the cover. 2, 3. That is the end of the match and the end of what appears to be the Drew McIntyre reclamation project. He seems to have himself a big-time WrestleMania match against Roman Reigns. And good for him. He looked great in this match and has shown a lot of really great intensity. Keep him away from the random faction there with Lashley and Corbin. Let them do their own thing. And, you know, this guy is a star, and I think that is what we're seeing here to end Raw. Standing up there, and that is probably the end of the show, I'm assuming here. Yeah, they've actually gone over. Raw's gone over. It's already past 11 here on the East Coast. The pen shot was pretty gnarly. Yeah, I picked up a pen, hit him right between the eyes with it. That was I think, one of the cooler spots of the night. LED boards was cool too. It just didn't really look as impactful probably as it would seem like it would. But, you know, solid Raw tonight. You know, I think the biggest news coming out of it is Bobby Lashley is your Intercontinental Champion. Alexa Bliss will be hosting WrestleMania 35. We've got Triple H and Batista in a street fight scheduled now for WrestleMania. Also scheduled for WrestleMania, Kurt Angle's farewell match. And looks like Drew McIntyre will be going one-on-one with Roman Reigns. Though Ambrose, give him credit here, seemed like he was completely laid out, but he's now crawling and asking for a little more as McIntyre stands up on the Raw announce table and points over at the WrestleMania sign. And now Ambrose is asking for more. And got another Claymore kick on the stage for his troubles. And it says up next, is that Dolph Ziggler photo shoot? What? So it looks like we're Dolph Ziggler photo shoot coming up. And Raw's off the air. It seemed like they were still going with something, but that's it. Monday Night Raw off the air. Back in the day, they used to be able to do these big time just as much as they wanted to, but it looks like times have changed. No more overrun for Raw. So that is going to do it for Monday Night Raw from Pittsburgh. Let me know what you guys thought of the show itself. Did you guys enjoy this Raw? Did you think it was good? I thought there were some things about Raw that I really enjoyed. If you guys are in the live chat, you can let me know now kind of what you enjoyed the most about this episode of Raw. I thought there were definitely some you got a lot of news coming out of this in terms of in-ring action, and it left a little to be desired. Also, not having Becky or Charlotte on the show after Becky had been announced, to get that big win and to be a part of that main event, I think actually hurt the show a little bit. I think that fans would have wanted to see Becky Lynch. People are probably excited to see her, and her not being a part of the show, to me, took a little bit away from that. But that's SmackDown, I guess, and so I guess we'll wait for that tomorrow. Also on SmackDown, they've announced Vince McMahon will be addressing Kofi Kingston. Shane McMahon will be addressing his actions against The Miz. So we're in full tilt WrestleMania mode now. All signs point to WrestleMania 35 here in East Rutherford, New Jersey, I guess. I don't want to say New York City. And MetLife Stadium. Should be a fun ride. That's going to do it for me for tonight, guys. If you like what you see, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks so much for the folks that, for the kind words and the folks that joined us in the live chat tonight. I do appreciate it. And we will see you guys again real soon. And last thing, Harlem Heat, WWE Hall of Fame. Very cool. Put up a little piece about that earlier today. Booker T takes his second place in WWE history. Well-deserved. So congrats to Booker T and Stevie Ray. And that is going to do it for Watch Along Wrestling. I am Tommy on the Spot. Hope you guys enjoyed.